It started like any other morning on live television: laughter, light banter, and a studio audience buzzing with excitement. But within minutes, that laughter would fade into an almost sacred silence. What began as a casual remark from Whoopi Goldberg turned into a deeply emotional exchange that no one in that studio or watching at home would ever forget. The guest that day was Senator John Kennedy, known for his sharp wit and down-home humor. He had come to talk about veterans' issues and the struggles many former service members face after returning home. Dressed in his usual suit and tie, there was one small detail that stood out: a worn silver dog tag resting just above his tight clip. It glimmered under the studio lights, not as an accessory, but as a story waiting to be told. As the discussion turned lighthearted, Whoopi, known for her humor and candor, pointed at the tag with a teasing grin. "John, what's with the dog tag? Trying to start a new fashion trend?" The audience laughed. It was an innocent joke, or at least it seemed that way. But what came next changed the tone of the room entirely. Kennedy smiled, his expression softening. He reached for the tag and held it gently between his fingers. "No, ma'am," he said quietly, his voice carrying a gravity that instantly pulled the room into stillness. "This belonged to my best friend, a Corporal David Miller. He didn't make it home." The laughter stopped. Whoopi's smile faded into a look of realization and empathy. Kennedy continued, his southern drawl steady but heavy with memory. "We served together in Vietnam. David was the kind of man who could make you laugh even when everything around you was falling apart. We promised each other that whoever made it back would carry the other's toga, so a part of us would always come home." He paused, his eyes glistening slightly under the lights. The audience sat frozen, the weight of his words pressing against the quiet. Even Whoopi's usual quick wit had no reply, just respectful silence as Kennedy went on. "You see, every morning when I put this on, I remember what it cost for me to sit here today and talk to you. Freedom isn't free, and sometimes it's paid for by the laughter you'll never hear again." There wasn't a sound in the room. Some audience members wiped away tears. Whoopi, visibly moved, reached across the table and took his hand. "Senator," she said softly, "I'm sorry. That's a broken bar. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that." Kennedy nodded, his expression kind. "Don't be sorry, ma'am. David would have loved that joke. He'd be the first to laugh. That's why I tell his story, so people remember he lived with joy, not just that he died with courage." The conversation shifted from humor to heart. Kennedy spoke about the quiet struggles of veterans who come home with invisible scars. He talked about the importance of listening, of remembering, of carrying someone's story forward when they can't. The segment ran over its scheduled time, but no one dared to cut it short. Every word felt necessary. When the cameras finally went to commercial, the audience stood in spontaneous applause. Some clapped, some cried, and even Whoopi, known for her composure, brushed away tears. Later, she would tell viewers, "Sometimes, you think you're just making a joke here and you end up learning a lesson you'll never forget." The clip went viral within hours. Millions watched the moment unfold. Kennedy's quiet strength, Whoopi's heartfelt reaction, and the unspoken reminder of the price of sacrifice. Veterans across the country wrote in, thanking him for giving voice to what so many had felt but couldn't say. But perhaps the most powerful reaction came from David Miller's sister, who wrote an open letter that Kennedy later read aloud on the Senate floor. "For years, I thought my brother had been forgotten," she wrote. "Now I know he's still here, still remembered." Every time that tag shines under the light, that moment on live TV became more than just an exchange. It became a lesson in empathy. It reminded people that behind every small object, every symbol, every worn piece of metal, there's a story of love, loss, and loyalty. By the end of the week, Kennedy's story had sparked a movement. People began sharing photos of their own dog tags as mementos and memories of loved ones who'd served, fought, and sacrificed. Hashtags like #CarryTheirMemory trended across social media, turning what began as a light joke into a national tribute to those who gave everything. And as one viewer wrote under the video that night, summing up what millions felt, "Sometimes the loudest silence is the one that reminds us what really matters: some honor, love, and never forgetting the ones who gave us our tomorrow." It was more than television. It was truth. And in that studio, for one quiet, unforgettable moment, everyone felt it. 1.